Hi guys. Ooh, late to the party. Hey guys, I don't know what's going on in here, but I got all these bugs coming in my ring light. Yo, welcome to the show. Let me fix my weed. This is Ratchet. How you doing? Let me fix it. Y'all, I'm gonna turn the music off. Hi guys. How are you? I'm still a baby mom. I gotta get the kiddos in bed before I actually do this. I'm gonna climb my microphone. I'll give me a moment. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I got bugs in my house. Where's this coming from? Like, what are these? Like, anyways, yeah, welcome to the show. Sorry, well, we usually start at 9 o'clock. So, mm, let's see. Welcome to Let's Talk with Miss C. My name is Felicia. I am your host. I know we were supposed to start at 8:30. We usually get here by 8:30 and start the show at 9 o'clock. Baby girl is not too well, so I needed to stay with her for a little bit. My makeup, my hair a little jacked up today. I apologize, y'all. It's been a week. It's been a week and some. Okay. But I'm getting my hair done. What's up, y'all? How you doing? How's life going? How's everything been? It's been a week, y'all. I don't know about you. I don't know what's going on. I got all this crazy stuff. Um, I don't know. Am I live? I know I checked. It said I was live everywhere. And now I don't know. So let's see. Yeah, we are live on Facebook. I see YouTube. I know I should have been doing this, right? But tonight we want to talk about setting boundaries. It comes to communicating. Should we, should we, those that are in relationship, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I think every relationship there should be some type of boundaries when it comes to communicating. So last week we had problems with StreamYard. I want you guys to come on and tell me how's my audio. I did watch the show that ended abruptly last week. I apologize, guys. Um, then the show ended quite quickly than wanted to. But yeah, let's get started. So now that's gonna be my new thing. Before the show starts, I'm actually gonna set it up everything and have music playing, and then you guys will see me come on. Y'all, I don't know what the is happening here. I got bugs. There's these little, I don't know if this the light attracting it, but I got these little black ants. Like, yeah. think I missed my old place. But that place we went there for, it was like a 10 place for us. Because we were transitioning from Delaware to here. So, but anyways, welcome to Let's Talk with Miss Fee. My name is Felicia. I am your host. As always, we share a show and then we get started. So let's talk about the week. Happy new month. Can you guys believe it's already June? You're halfway through. Halfway through. You know, when June hits, this is when I'm like, oh, wake up, Felicia. Like, what are those things that you wanted to accomplish this year? Like, how far? Or how are you doing with that? I will say so far, I don't think I have accomplished quite a bit of those, but you know, other things pop up, which is life. You can plan everything you want to plan, but things are gonna pop up, and you got to be ready for it. So, just wanted to give a little word of encouragement to those of you who are feeling like me, like you haven't done those things that you really wanted to do this year. Don't feel bad, you know. Um, just look at the things that you have done this year so far and then work towards those things that you are able to accomplish in the next 6 months before the year ends. So that way, even if you don't accomplish everything, at least you made it halfway or almost at the end of it. Right. So I just reminded myself. Um, and to be quite honest with you guys, my schedule change hasn't really gone like I intended it or as I was planning. So without saying too much, like, I mean, I'm in a really, it's great, but then it's not great. It's like I transferred to inpatient to a bigger hospital. And I was hoping I will have some type of flexibility with my schedule, but then it ended up happening where, few managers and people got fired. So I had to chip in more than I needed to. So my schedule change did not really go for the intended purpose of me having a show during the week. But I'm working on something else with my schedule, so hopefully that panning out. Yeah. So that's where I was like, I haven't accomplished much here this year because I've been so cut up. So we did move. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, please type in the comment section. If you're not watching, y'all need to watch. Y'all don't want to watch me anymore? Oh my God. This is not good. Go and tell your friends, tell them to come. Let's listen. Oh, let me speak Kolokwa. My people are come just because I'm not talking all the drama. As I learned today, Liberian people, you let drama be me. I'm breaking your, at least your easier drama ear in your car. Yeah. If you're listening and you didn't understand anything I just said, tag your Liberian friends and let them explain it to you. But can you guys type in the comment section? That was a little comedy for you. Um, y'all can't watch my show. Your shit is show. Liberian people then. Yo, as soon as I start talking about, oh, the person sent me this secret about this person, I will blow up in 2 seconds. Or as soon you hear me talk about my family life, blah blah blah, and craziness is happening, you guys will be running here and sharing it. Why y'all don't want to share positive things? Come on, man. come on, these are things we all go through daily, right? Like communication issues is something that I think across every nation people go through it. What prompts me to actually talk about this topic was, you guys, as a podcast host, you need to listen to other podcast hosts that are doing it. And when I say doing it, like they hit the beat. So I like on my free time or sometimes when I'm at work in my office, I would just put some podcasts on while the busy is busy and I just tap in and out, listen to something. But apparently on Facebook, Instagram, there's this gentleman that talks about relationship and things like that. I think he's dope. He was talking about communication and how he and his wife has been married for 20 years. No shade to other people, but I don't listen to people who give marriage advice that haven't been in the game for a while. I like to listen to people that actually will, and you probably will be listening, but as you guys all know, this show is not about giving you advice. This show is about us sharing our opinions on topics that each and every one of us go through each and every day. We might learn through that process, or you might, like I always said, and everybody says this on this platform, we are not relationship experts. We are just here to share our opinion on any topics or whatever comes up, okay? But going back to what that gentleman was saying, he talked about how he and his wife for the first 5 years, I think every relationship go through that 5 year hurdle, right? That 5 years, that first 5 year is like, man, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, what's up? What's up? River says Ricky watching from work. I know, man, the schedule be tight these days. Mine, I was running from work. You guys, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Those sugar ends, like those sugar ends. River says, Pro, can you hear me clearly? Is the audio good today? Like, I mean, I screamed, I called, you guys, I didn't scream, but I was really, really annoyed. I called StreamYard customer service. I know it's not their fault because it's like network issue, but I was like, come on, y'all. Y'all need to be paying attention to the glitch, when things happen. Y'all gonna be mad when y'all be taking the money though. That y'all don't get glitches when y'all be taking the money. Y'all gotta make sure this stuff works. But I don't think it was their fault. It probably had to do with my new location. But they fixed it. I hope you guys can hear me clearly. So, yeah, I was listening to him, and I think he does a really good job how he talks about communication. And, when I listen to these podcasts, I know you'll probably be wondering, how does she come up with these topics? Sometimes these topics, like I would just read stuff and then I formulate topic out of it, or I listen to other people podcasts based on what they say. I think about it and then I come up with the topic. And sometimes there's actually some stuff that I'm actually going through that I try to formulate questions and get my own answer from you guys through that. Um, Sometimes some of you guys sent me, uh, "Hey Charles, how are you? How you doing?" Welcome to the show. Tonight we're talking about should couples set boundaries when it comes to communicating. Um, I think we can all get caught up in our own feelings when it comes to like when you're mad. I know someone told me the other day is like how can you control yourself when you're angry? You're angry, you're losing it. So how so but anyway, we're gonna jump into that. Let me try to call more people on here. It looks like everybody's sleeping. Welcome to the show, Charles. It was great having a conversation with you last week. I'm doing quite well, thank you. I hope you can join the conversation tonight. All right. I know some of you guys said, someone messaged me. They're like, Felicia, your Siri did it too much. So I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. If I start speaking my Siri's, y'all, my colloquy, y'all will start laughing. Y'all will start laughing. Then it's gonna flip back to the series. So let me be great, y'all. Let me be great. Let me communicate how I'm able to. If y'all can't hear me, if I get too deep into the series, I beg you. I will try my best. I will try my best. Eh? But the reason I try to stay like because some of my audience are actually my friends and colleagues around, so they definitely listen and watch my podcast. And if I start going deep into my colloquia, I don't know if I will reach all my audience. So yeah, y'all just got a day. Y'all know y'all in Liberia be trying to speak all the series yet they all won't be back. Yes, I did, yeah. Eh, we Yeah, I'm doing comedy tonight. I'm just playing, just playing. But go ahead, guys, share the show. Share it, share it, share it, share it. Let's talk about it. What do you guys think? Should there be boundaries in relationship when it comes to communicating? Should you sit and talk to each other? And if you read the post, I did say, um, there are things we say when we are angry with our partner, not just our partner, but like we have relationship with people in general, rather it be romantic, friendly, or whatsoever. And I know sometimes we don't, like think about things, we get angry and then we speak without thinking about it. But then there's a saying that whatever you say cannot be taken back. Life is yeah, I'm just sharing this show. I'm so sorry. It's like nobody yet. Where oh, we got 4 people watching. Y'all come on, come on, come on, watch. I don't know what's going on with my panelists. They were killing me this evening about wow, we're not starting the show yet. Y'all, I'm sorry. I know I always said 8:30, but that's a way for me to remind you guys to come on the show. But technically, the show starts at 9 o'clock. And I know it's late for you in Liberia and it's hard for you guys to catch it, but we got bills to pay, y'all. We got to work. Juma, yeah. He said, what did he say? He said, Dennis, come on, come and see something quick. Oh, relationship matter. Relationship matters, guys. You got it right. You got it right. Relationship matter. Mm, it matter. A godly one, a honest one, a true one, a sweet one. God doesn't make mistake, when he decided to create relationship, to build a relationship. He does not make mistake. And we shouldn't take it for granted. I know so many people that says, I don't do relationship anymore because, people are disrespectful, people are not honest. Um, just imagine what I always tell people is if there's an apple and you say all the apples are bad, right? But you're an apple and you want people to see you as the best apple among the bunch. What makes you think there aren't other good apple within that bunch, right? So it gotta start somewhere. And yeah, I feel like I'm preaching to my team at work. But let's share the show, please. You guys share the show. Invite your friend Julia. Share the show. Don't be come here. I can't bring your company on the show. It's a relationship matters. It matters, guys. So something somebody told me a few years back, and I think this is what most people should teach young women and men. And that's a topic that I'm actually working on. I'm just trying to see how to put that topic together. But I'm looking down because I'm actually sharing the show to other platform and media. So you guys do the same, share it. Let's talk about it. It looks like I'm gonna be here by myself tonight, but we're gonna tackle it. We're gonna do this together. I know you guys, I don't really bring you guys hot topics or drama. So a lot of you don't really come, but I have seen my view goes up like when the video do drop. I have been monitoring it. I don't know if you guys know, this page is monetized and our goal is to grow and possibly get paid. If we do get paid, there are some things that I'm working on. Few of you have sent me stars, and I haven't touched those, and I don't plan on touching it anytime soon. But once you send me star, my goal is to use it for a better good when that time gets around. So, I, I I feel really weird to even ask you guys about the river says first, I believe that in relationship women say the most detrimental and sometimes consequential things when you guys, let me put this up. um so he said, I believe that in relationship women say the most detrimental and sometimes consequential things when they are angry. I agree. I absolutely agree. I can put $100,000 on that. You are right. A woman once told my friend that her pregnancy wasn't his. She later retracted her statement. Imagine living in a country with no access to DNA testing. What would you do as a man? Ouch. Ouch. That. Hmm. I think women play around with these, and if you guys watch this for a long time, watch me for a long time, you probably know that I told you guys I watch George Lantola on Divorce Court, and my husband's always like, "Why are you watching Divorce Court?" But I actually watch it, and I learned from this lady a lot because and learn from all the other people that come on there. And, I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect, but I think when you listen to other people' problems and how they handle it, it actually really help you a lot. So, um, yeah, so I watched it and it seems to be like the thing River says pro, that's what women try to do. Oh, the baby's not yours. And yeah, living in a country that you do not have access to DNA, that, I don't know, you live your entire life thinking, man, is this child mine? Like, that is the worst thing you can possibly, but I know we do say the worst thing. And I think women, if I'm gonna say, I think women do this because they want, if they're hurt, not just women, human being in general, when we are hurt, we want to make sure we hurt you to where it hurt the most. And of course, if you are excited about having children and things like that, and then your partner out of the blue just punch you in the gut with that, like, I don't know why women do that. I would say I'm guilty. I played around with that before, but I didn't really like say it. It's like I don't think I'm mad because my husband and I joke around a lot. He's a jokester. He likes to play fun. So Ah, yeah, yeah. So I remember one day he said, if, I think that's when I was pregnant with my son. And, we were playing around. He's like, so my kids, when I had them, they came out really, especially my son, he was so like white, like he was white. You guys, I don't even know. I know babies are like pink and you know, but my son was so white. The bridge of his nose was so white that and then it was yellow. So he was like looking at the baby ear and was like, is this my baby? So he was playing fun. But then I'm like, well, if he doesn't have your ears, then I guess that's not your son. It belongs to somebody else. So it's kind of like a joking form, but I don't know about like being pregnant and then just looking at the person and saying that's not your child. That is, I don't know. I'll probably break up with you if I was the one. I'm sorry because, but and then and Charles says some women and men are saying relationship are staying. What is it? Some women and men are saying relationship and marriage between men and women not matter anymore to them than money. Yeah, actually, I think that comes more from women. Women now are making um staying in marriage or relationship transactional. So when one person go broke, I literally read something online where the lady posted and she was, our generation is so, I don't want to call it bold, but like don't care. We have a generation that is very like reckless, if for the lack of better words. We have a generation that's really, really reckless and like they just throw things around and words around and don't think about the consequences of it before you will actually think about what you say. Or if you said it, you will have some type of compassion or remorse to go back and try to correct it and, let the person know that because of your emotions, you let your emotion get the best of you, but that is not an excuse. So, going to the topic tonight, should couples set boundaries with when it comes to communicating? I say yes, yes, yes. You should set boundary, and I think that should be said early on. I think when you're and we all make the mistake. I think in my relationship, I think we did not set that boundaries because you don't go into a relationship in the happy, happy honeymoon stage. You don't go into it thinking like, I'm not, we are going to go argue and things like that. But that's something that I think people should prepare themselves for. People should understand that these things are going to happen. You're going to not like that person at some point of the relationship. And how do you handle that? Some people handle relationship in a way where I think I'm on this spectrum where if you're angry, like you don't want to talk about it, you just want to regroup and think about it. I used to be really, really good at this. I think before I had children, but I think I'm falling off of it a little bit, if I'm being honest. Some people like to keep things in their mind, like they hold it in and build up of it, or they start to plot. I used to do that. You guys, I'm being as honest I possibly can be. Like I used to plot, and plotting would be like, oh, I know something you like, and you're expecting me to do that. I'm not going to, just because I'm mad and I don't want to talk about it right. So I would do that. And that's bad. I think over the years, over the past 2 or 3 years, I think I'm getting better with communicating more as we have um I'm it takes me a lot to get mad. Let's just put it that way. Like, so my holding in was not like, oh, I'm angry. I used to hold things in because um I just give you the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, whatever. I guess you don't mean that, you know. Um, so Charles said, I would say lacking the fear and wisdom of God, generation that had made relationship and marriages very difficult nowadays between men and women. I agree. I agree. Actually, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna post the link in the comment section. I'm gonna pin it. If you want to join, you can actually click on it and then it will let you join. So just give me one moment. I just realized I didn't pin it on there. Mm, mm, mm. Let's see. Absolutely. I think everyone is trying to fit in some way. And everyone, I think we're such a hurt generation that we don't really understand or see like things that are important to us, you know? Like Charles said, Charles, if you want to join, I just pinned the link in the comment section. You're more than welcome to join me up here. Um, Usually, I know last week I had the show on while I was just doing my little chit chat on live because it went and the whole network thing didn't work. But usually, this is how I have my show every night, every weekend. Um, yeah, a lot of people don't fear God, and it's quite disturbing, you know, like it's so disturbing that, you know, I tell my team all the time, we talk about integrity at work, and, you know, they know you ask them, what is integrity? And they're like, doing the right thing when nobody's watching. And it's like, yeah, that's the simplest answer, but the most powerful answer. And how do you know nobody's watching? Someone's always watching. Um, so sure, Charles, anytime you're welcome to join. So, but I always follow with this statement, the walls have ears and the ceilings have eyes, which means you might think you're completing your task, that nobody's watching, and you do a shortcut, and then now that affects patients. So, or like you're not properly following instruction like you're supposed to. Obviously, yeah, you're adult and somebody's going to tell you something, you'll do whatever it is you want to do. But, you know, I always remind them integrity. And I think a lot of us, I remember definitely when I was growing up, that was something that was preached to us, you know, God. Oh, guys, I'm about to yawn. God is always watching, you know, like, and when you're about to do something, you know, then you start to think like, who's watching? But how do you set boundaries? River says Pro said, we men are advised to walk away when partners are angry. Yes, some women feel disrespected when we do. Do you think walking away strategy works? What is your solution during anger? That is a great thing. A great question. Great question. Um, that's why I actually wanted to talk about this topic. Should you set boundaries? Yes. And going to River says Pro questions, yeah, you should walk away. But I also think like this is something where you have open communication because you don't know how to solve a problem until the situation occurs, right? So let's say you get into a heated argument out of nowhere. Two heated people cannot solve a problem. So the best thing, definitely walking away. I would say walking away is the best. But don't walk away and stay there for a long time. That's what the problem is. Some people don't understand it's not about you walking away, it's you walking away and spending the night and coming back in the morning. You created more problem. If you walk away and went into your car and just sat there to cool off and wait for maybe 2 to 3 hours and come back in and then just, test the water and say, hey, what's up? You okay? Can we talk? Or we can talk about it tomorrow. I think that's the best way. But I think where the problem comes from is when people get angry and they're like, grab the car keys and you're in no man's land. Now you're angry, you're out there and you don't come back home until the next day. Or some people come back, drunk. And that is just not advisable. But I think the reason men are advised to walk away because you guys are in control of your emotions. I don't care what any woman say. I think men, most men, let me not say men in general, because we have some very special men these days. Some men are in control of their emotions and they know how to handle it. But if you stay there, you're a human being. Someone's gonna like push you to the wall where things are gonna happen, words are being said. I mean, something I would tell you that really, 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 really like when if you've done something to me and I've held it in for a while, it's because I want to cool off. And I think my husband did this once, and that I hope he learned not to ever do that again. But if you get into an argument and someone's trying to get a point across, and then guess what? You take your headphones and put it in your ear. That is the most disrespectful thing you could possibly do. I think it's better for you to just eliminate yourself from, de-escalate, leave from the situation, and like that person's not seeing you, but like putting earpiece in your ears and just ignoring the person, that is not cool. So if you're gonna do that to me, guess what? I am the queen of ignoring people. I am the queen of ignoring people. Like that upset me. But then guess what? I know 99.9% of the entire week you need to communicate with me. So how are you gonna do it if I'm ignoring you? Everything you do revolves around what I do in the house. So how are you gonna deal with that? So I think, yes, walking away is advisable when I'm angry. I think if you have multiple rooms in your house, depending on the argument, I think you just going to the other room and just cooling off, it's better that way. Or if you need to walk out, I think walking out is probably the best because depending on the situation or the individual that you're or how your partner reacts to things. Some women are very aggressive. Like, I know it's such a gray area. We always talk about abuse and things like that, right? And women are always possibly seem to be the victim. And I'm not discrediting a lot of women that have come up with this, but I feel like a lot of women, stir the pot and like put their hands on their partner first, even like just being in their face and just talking like, what are you gonna do? Like just carrying on like that, poking their finger in their face, and then now it escalates to where the man end up like trying to defend himself, but women always forget that like you're weak. There's a reason. I don't care how many pounds you bench or how many, you guys, I used to work out and 7 days a week before the kids. And I think I was in the best of my shapes before I even like had my kids. And, as much as strong as I felt I was sad, this is funny. I'm going to share it. He's probably going to be mad at me. I could actually put my husband on my back and walk around with him. That's how strong I felt. But that doesn't mean like my strength that I have acquired, like reach out to the strength, the natural strength that men have. So you're not supposed to put your hands on anybody in general. But when people are angry, they just react. And I think that comes from being immature. Like you're not mature enough to even have proper communication. So what if you were at work or you were in a public place, somebody did something? Would you want to put your hands on them? I don't think so. So you shouldn't put your hands on anybody. So I know some women feel disrespected going to River's Pro um, statement there or his question. I think walking away is a great strategy depending on your partner. You know, like if you have if your partner or your spouse saying that this, and like I said, guys, I think this is where you and your partner sit to understand when it comes to argument and anger, how do they handle it? And I know a lot of people don't talk about it until it happens, but this is why I think that's where you set boundaries. And where some people want to talk about it right there and then. It happens, let's talk about it. You're angry, I'm angry, let's yell at each other and let's be done, and we go back to smiling. Or some people like, I'm gonna ignore you for a few times and then we'll talk about it. Or some people is like, no, we're gonna bring the house down today and it's going down because you pissed me off, and that's it. So I think this is where the communication piece come in. I think this is where you sit and you try to understand where your partner is coming from. Are you are you in the right space of mind? You try to understand, how do you communicate when you're angry? Like, what happened? How does it look like? Are you a person that want to talk about it now, or are you a person you want us both to cool up? Would you be mad if I walk away? I think a lot of people don't really ask these questions because they're afraid they're gonna run them off. So let me give you guys another example. So I watched this show. Yeah, and some of you guys saw some of the show I've been watching, y'all be like, and you'd be like, you have a lot of time. Not really. I scan through it. I can't even watch a movie for a good hour. Like I can sum up an entire movie in maybe 15, 20 minutes. It depends on how long the movie is. If it is like a 45 minutes film, I can definitely scan that stuff in like 5 minutes and be done with the whole thing. But anyways, going back, so this lady, she came on this show and she was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a partner. This is what I want. I want him to make six figure." And then I'm like, "Is this like a buzzword? Do you guys know what six figure is? Anything from 100,000 and up, to 600,000, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, that's 100,000. Do you know somebody who's doing a little job um can work the whole year and still hit 100,000, you know? So sure, sure, sure. Reverse bro. I'll be here. I'm here. I know I missed you guys. Yeah, um, last week because of those whole network things. So I'm here tonight. I'm here for a conversation. I'll be here till 11. So let's talk about it. Yeah, I'd like for you guys to join as well. Um, Yeah, so people nowadays want a partner that makes everything is transactional. Let's go back to, I think the best way when you're angry, once you understand what your partner is like when you both are angry, it makes it easier for you guys to handle that situation. If you have children, that's something I think my husband used to say when we first got together. He said, "Are you interviewing me?" He said, "What did you say?" This other job application I follow, I say yes because I want to know who I'm getting involved with and what's going on because I know me. The I know me. I don't know you. So how do I get to know you? I'll ask questions, but I did it in a way where it felt like I was grilling him, you know, especially when we got to that that point where it was like, oh yeah, man, we're serious. Like I didn't really expect, like at the moment where we got together, that was the moment that I was going through. I think I got out of the relationship. I had waited for like a year and a half, going to 2 years, but apparently he was pursuing me without me knowing. And I was in my phase of, I don't want a relationship like most people, which is so stupid because you cannot live your life without a relationship, but you definitely need to get into, in tune with yourself and understand what it is your purpose is and who it is you want to be with. And those people that are coming around, do they aligned with what it is, where you want your life to be? It's not just about, oh, you make a lot of money. When I hear women say, um, I don't care. He just needs to make a lot of money and take care of me. But then I'm also in the back of my mind thinking, but you're Miss Independent, right? Anyway, I don't want to get off tangent, but when we got together, that was I remember one night specifically. We were walking downtown. I think we went out for, dinner, and then we were walking around. We used to walk around. I like walking. So we were walking around, and I asked a question. I was like, so I still remember all the questions. I said, so this is how I am. This is what I do with my life. This is how I am when I'm angry. I'm somebody who don't get angry a lot, but if I do get angry, eh, that not a pretty sight, to see, because I do have attitudes. I'm very, very self-aware. I know the type of person I am. I can give you attitude, and you would be wondering, is this the same Felicia? So I was like, I have a lot of attitude problem. Like I'm working on myself, but if I know how to control it, but if a situation, two things in life that I really, 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 I don't use this word a lot, but I hate dearly to my core is for someone to take advantage of me. And then I know that you're taking advantage of me. That's one of the things that really, really, really will make me give you attitude. And you probably will not be happy with me. I just like for people to be honest, like don't. And then the second thing is don't take advantage of people that I really care about. That's two things in life. So don't take advantage of me and don't take advantage of people that I actually care about. So I said that to him. He's like, why would I take advantage of you? So, I asked the question without asking. I don't know if you guys are watching. Most of the time, I said, I don't think you should ask people, like, what do you do when you're angry? People are going to give you answer that they think you want to hear. Humans were very good at reading people. Some people aren't that great at it, but if you ask me a question like that, I already know you don't want to hear the negative. So I'm going to tell you what I believe you want to hear. So I will tell you that. So I don't think when you're dating, you should ask questions. I think your question should be asked in scenarios. So when it comes to communicating, I think you should set boundaries where you sit down and say, hey, um, even if you don't do it in the beginning, you can say, hey, uh, when we're angry, how do we resolve it? And you come up with solution based on how you handle your anger. Like I said, guys, my anger, like if I'm angry, my husband, like he's easy to get angered, like easy. I know how to make him mad. Really easy. Easy. Like easy. Just annoys him. It's very easy, but I know how to handle that, so I know what makes him mad. He thinks he knows what makes me mad. He don't. He probably does figure it out because I'm somebody I like for my space to be super organized, neat, and clean. That's very hard with two little kids, but I try my best. Like when they go to bed, it's like cleaning perfect time, and I feel great when I go to bed. But him, he's very super chill. So I get annoyed with that. Like if the kids are here, why can't you clean after them, And then, if I keep saying that, that's when he gets mad. And it's like, so we both know how that works. So sometimes I will purposely do things because I know it's not fair. I'll purposely do things where I know like I'm gonna annoy him. But the good thing that I would say about us is I don't know how we resolve our issues. Some of the time it's like we just start laughing. It's it's crazy. So it's like we laughed about it. It's like, yeah, that was stupid. Why did we even get mad? you know so I think understanding your partner, and I think the more people stay together, I think that's when you start to understand how to resolve your issues, and then when you get into a problem, you try to figure out. But when somebody don't understand you and they don't know how things work with you, it is really, really hard to set those boundaries. So what are number one boundaries? Don't call me out of my names. I'm guilty. I've done it. We all do it. Like women specifically, like River says, Rose says, we will say some things that are very, very hard to take back. And I was just thinking about it. It's like, so let's say a man, look at a woman and call her names, all these names in a book, and, do things to her. But then he still want to be with her. And it's like, how? How can you publicly or even like in front of your children disrespect and disregard your partner and you still want to be with them? What does that say about your character? Like, so I believe like setting boundaries is where you talk about no matter how angry we are, don't put your hands on me. I don't put my hands on you. That is like the golden rules. So I'm gonna tell them myself. So let me tell you guys, when I was pregnant, I think it's because I was hormonal, but I got really, really, I think it was with my son. With my daughter, I don't know if I really got angry like that. But with my son, I did get really like towards the end of that pregnancy, I was really, really irritated. Like, oh my gosh. Like you couldn't tell me anything. I was just like, ugh, I was off the edge, ready. Maybe because it was time to have the baby. But like I don't know, out of anywhere or nowhere, I got angry and I don't even remember what it was all about. But I literally like my heart like just flipped and I was ready to hurt anybody that came in front of me. And like later on when I sat and thought of it, it was like, what was that? Sometimes is demonic spirits, I think. And I don't know, some of you guys don't believe in God or anything like that, but I think this is where you start to pray for each other. You definitely should pray for each other because it's not easy just being you and walking into the world. But I think having family around and somebody really, um, having that adult. I know our generation don't believe in having family to resolve issues. We want to resolve our own issues, and I think this is where some relationship is not really surviving because we don't want to listen to anybody else. We feel like we know it all, and that is not it's not true. Sometimes, yeah, I do believe you should resolve issue between both of you, but there are those family members that knows about your relationship and they're like a model, like maybe your mom or your dad or that aunt that is very, very close to you that you can actually sit and make sense. Guys, not everybody wants the best for you, but the older women these days will tell you, yeah, you're hardworking, you know, walk away, and it's so frustrating when you hear a woman older who should understand how relationship works and is telling you walk away and you're like, wow, is that it? Like, I walk away. Will you be there for me when I need you? Like, what about you trying to mold us, talk to the young man or me, and for us to actually make this work and see how we can go in it absolutely to that point where we can, then we make that decision by ourselves. Charles says when a man and a woman have love and likeness for each other, selflessly, it's very easy to solve any problem. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. I think most people are just jumping into relationship because it's cute. I think that's my opinion. I may be wrong, but I think a lot of people jump into relationship because they feel like it's cute. Yeah, we can travel. We can go to, this place. We go to Hawaii as a couple for the grams. We take the videos, we post it. We can go to this. We can live our best life and make everybody else look like they're not enjoying life. I think that's what most people are doing nowadays, and they're not really going through the village process where your parents used to sit down and communicate and you talk about things as human being and try to resolve it as an adult. But instead he says some people get into their feelings and automatically we women, yes, we're guilty. We automatically go, so I can take care of myself. It's like this goes back to feminism, right? It's like, I can take care of myself. I can do this by myself. I don't need you. And I'm guilty, guys. I said this on here before. I'm guilty. I've said this before. But I think as I've gotten older and as my relationship is progressing, I'm starting to understand the whole intended purpose of me in life and of all the things I've been through and all the things I've experienced, which I have more to experience and go through. I think I've learned that it's not about you buying yourself something, because if somebody's not there, someone will always be there. God will always provide some type of way for you to survive. So at the end of the day, it's not about what you can afford, it's about who you can build that way. So River says Prozac. Most African men are not accustomed to train to apologize to after argument. Do you think traditional beliefs and practice affect our judgment and anger? Yes, yes, yes. 100%. So, you guys, I'm your case study tonight, and I'm going to use myself throughout this whole thing. So, again, I'm gonna go back to that very first pregnancy with my son, right? So my husband was pursuing something, and then I told him and I was like, hey, you should prepare before you go take that test. And he's like, well, I prepared before, but don't worry about it. Okay. You guys, I'm yawning. Oof. Sorry. So he said, I've been preparing for it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. For me, I was start preparing like 2 weeks before the actual day and continue it until that day. Since I know when my haircut, I'm just gonna schedule that appointment. So he scheduled to go sit and take that test. And you guys, he did it without my knowledge. Apparently, he said he wanted to surprise me, that he was gonna, he really do well on that test that day. And when he came back and I said, I told you, should I? Don't. And I started thinking like, is that how? So then they create another communication moment for us. So I asked him, I was like, so wait. You made a statement and you said when you're hot caught, that's when you go do things. That may have worked for you as an individual, but as a family unit, that doesn't work. Like I'm a planner. Like I plan everything because I have planned and planned and planned and planned different plans from different angles. So if you're not prepared and you didn't plan for it, how is that going to work? And that's why I'm like, the Bible does not lie, you guys. A man who doesn't plan to fail. you know. So when I said that, he's like, you know what? You are right. You're right, Felicia. You're right. You are right. And ever since then, he always prepared himself for everything. And he definitely went back. He got ready and he took the test and he did well on it. So it's kind of like what you're saying, most men don't apologize. I would say I experienced that. Like they're trained to just because they're the head and and they just outlaw, I do what I want to say. But I think as time is going, as the world is getting exposed to each other, African men are changing. They are apologizing. But yeah, culture definitely play a role into that in even communicating with each other. Some men just feel like they don't have to tell you. They can just get up and go out because they're the men. They can just, go hang out and do whatever because they're the men. But I remember, I don't know if you guys remember on here, I said when we first got together, the plan was what we discussed was that you I cannot go out and stay out before 12. I can't come back home after 12 a.m. That would be disrespectful. Vice versa. We both talked about that. Now, if it does happen where you went to an event, like a wedding or like, an event, obviously we both will be attending, so that rule goes out the door, right? But if I was, let's just say I'm like, I'm going out with my friend, we're going grab some lunch or dinner. Um, oh, well, okay, I be home before 11 or 12 o'clock. Some of my friends are like, but you're an adult. Like, why do you have a curfew? It's not a curfew, it's an agreement. You know, that's something that we communicate. And I think that's part of boundaries too, where you're setting boundaries where everybody understand they're held to some type of accountability and you're responsible for making sure you apply with that. So I think it was one time that happened. Apologizing seems to be like a taboo, and I think my husband went to a birthday of his friend, and he showed up back late, and I didn't say anything. And for 1, 2 days, because I was waiting for him to explain to me why that happened. or did not even communicate throughout the process why he was going to be. He's really good with communicating, right? But that one time, it just went out the door. So I'm like, hmm, I waited 1, 2, 3 days. So we were having dinner, and I was just like, yeah, so how was that party? Oh, it was nice. Yeah, you got back at like 2 a.m. Nah, it was at 1. It wasn't 1, it was 2. I was awake. So you think it's like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry, we're hanging out things I forgot to communicate. But I think before that, they took time. You guys, I told you the first 5 years of our relationship, we are just breathing. You know how the saying goes, the devil always mess with the pastor children because they know they're closer to God. I feel like the devil always mess with relationship because he knows it's something that God's love, relationship and building love and hope and responsibility. So I feel like that first 5 years is like the devil is just busy to destroy it. And if you and your partner, allow it to be destroyed, it will be destroyed. So yeah, I would encourage, I think that's where setting boundaries is. I like for you to acknowledge that you did something to me. Now, it's also, I will also say, like, if you don't mean to apologize, don't apologize. Like, I straight up would tell my husband, don't apologize to me because you think that's what I expect from you. Apologize because you genuinely, within your spirit, you know that you did something wrong and you want to fix it. So don't try to be telling me I'm sorry. I'm not gonna accept it. Apology. So let's look at some of my notes. And look at Charles. Charles said, such discussion and teaching like this, not many of Black women want to talk about it. I love this show. I love to see you teaching positively by Thank you. I appreciate it. I received that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, Before you came on, Charles, I was just cracking jokes. I said some of these people are not gonna watch my show because I'm not bringing the G's or the hot topic, or somebody's fighting a relationship, or somebody's destroying each other, or someone's cheating on each other, blah blah blah. You know, but it's okay. We are still growing, actually. This podcast was actually launched September 29th. We're getting there in the next 2 to 3 months. I'm actually thinking about it. We're already at 4 point something thousand follow. So I think we're slowly growing, and that's okay. That's fine. You know, you guys, let's keep pushing it. I'm somebody, I don't start stuff that I don't know I'm going to finish. I'm going to see the actual end of this. And I know few months ago, I told you guys that I changed my schedule. This was back in March, right? Yeah, March, I changed my job schedule because before I was working, I used to go to different hospitals and just audits and things like that and check on my team. But then now, like, I went inpatient in a hospital where I work a whole shift before I managed my own hours and things like that. But it was hectic because I was traveling all over Virginia, DC, Maryland. I was just going around. So it was just too much for me. And with the little one and stuff. So I changed it, hoping I'll have at least 1 or 2 days during the week to be off where I can lunch. I can actually have a live show during the day to talk to other people because I know some people can't catch it because it's so late in Liberia. But that didn't really work out, so I'm working on another plan on how to do this. Also, I've been working on getting. I want to get this show on one of Liberia radio. I did talk to couple of them, it was kind of promising. But I think after they talked to me, they're like, "Oh, they do get money." I think they want to overcharge me. So I'm trying to work my way through something else, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, they're trying to charge me. I just want 1 hour airtime every Sundays. And they're trying to like dig into my pocket deeper than it is. And I'm like, nah, trying to do all that. So, but we're still gonna get it on the radio, still negotiating with other people and trying to figure it out. And our co-host Andrew Don is working on something as well. He used to be on the radio in Liberia, so he's working on something for us. But eventually, I am hoping my schedule can be really nice that I can have a show during the day, like weekdays. That way, my kids are at school, I'm home by myself, and then doing things, you know. But anyways, let's go back to the topic. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Charles, and I pray that, even the one or two people watching, that they will be blessed and that we all can learn from each other. I don't know if you guys know, but you can review the platform. You can actually review and see what you want to say. I have, I didn't know. I have a lot of people from Nigeria that watch my show. I have a lot of people, of course, from China that watch my show. But here's the shocking one. I have people from London that is actually watching my show after it launches. So and they actually sent me some really nice feedback. They were telling me how, it's helping them and they enjoyed it and that I should keep going. Few people they DM me, they send me DMs, so it's very, very encouraging. But our community, I wanted to create this podcast for our community specifically because I see so many like negative stuff happening on social media, and it's all about like the drama and working goals. So I just thought, by having something like this can kind of like bring back some type of normal stuff to our community. And also my kids, I have a boy and a girl, and they're growing up, and eventually I know every parent's prayer is that they will have healthy relationships wherever God sends them away, so that's why I was like, not into these, and this can be something positive for our community. But let's go to my note about setting boundaries, guys. We got a few more minutes. We're gonna be here till 11. I'm gonna be here. We got this. We're doing it. We're doing it. We are doing it. So let me go ahead and pull um, my notes here. I really appreciate you, Professor Pro and Charles, for being so engaging in the conversation. So Chicago, where did I put it? All right, guys. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna see. First, we're gonna try to understand what is boundaries. Do you guys know what boundary is? What is it? Oh my gosh. Ugh, you guys. Oh yeah, yeah. So why should you set boundaries in general? Why is setting boundaries important? Setting boundaries, the importance of boundaries is setting boundaries in relationship is a way of cultivating mutual respect. So if I set a boundaries for you and you set boundaries for me, that's me setting respect, mutual respect and boundary in our partnerships. So that means I understand you, you understand me. I know where you're coming from, you know where I'm coming from. I know what makes you happy, I know what makes you sad. That's what setting boundaries is. When you set boundaries when it comes to communicating, which means you don't know how I grew up, right? And guys, I'm just saying this in general. You don't know how your partner grew up. Maybe you yelling is a trigger for something that they went through. Maybe like just maybe putting your hands on that person reminds them of how abusive their family or parents were to them. You don't know what they've been through. So, it's very, very important for you to set boundaries in your relationship. I think it creates, like you said, um, boundaries is kind of like a guideline, right? It's like this is the guide to our relationship. This is how we follow. And I think that makes mutual respect and responsibility even easier because you know that, oh, yeah, I'm yawning already. I've been going to bed early during the week because I have to be at work so early. So now my body is like, when it comes Saturday, I'm always like, I need to go to bed. But setting boundaries is very, very important. So there are, when it comes to communication, so understanding, being honest, and communicating your needs. Like, I don't need you to yell at me when I'm angry. Like for me, I hate when I'm angry, or when let's just say there's an argument, I just don't like for someone to like yell at me. It takes me to a place that it's like, wow, no, I don't like that. So, communicating that with your partner, of course, we all know when you're thick and like you're angry, like you don't think about the other person, what makes them feel better, right? But I think one of you will think about it. One person will think like, that this is something that Felicia don't like. This is something that, Roses Pro or anybody else don't like. This is something that makes me feel this way. This is something that gives me anxiety. So don't do it. It's kind of like a guideline. It's about being honest and open about your communication. But I think there should be some type of boundaries because, like River says, Pro said earlier in his comment there, said that women are very fond of saying detrimental things. Like, for instance, somebody telling um, their partner that their child possibly couldn't be theirs because they're angry. That is not a good thing. And I think that happened quite often than just back home, like you said. Here, I remember watching a show and I watch Paternity Court. I like you guys. I'm into the whole court. Somebody's like, I probably should have been a lawyer. I don't think it's late. We'll see. We'll see. You know, um, I like watching those paternity court because I think it teaches you about things that you shouldn't do. I also watch like these divorce court, shows because it teach you about things that you shouldn't do. When you're in a relationship and you see people do it and you see how it play out and the advice that George will give them and how to save their marriage and things like that. So that's why I like to watch it. But I watched this one where the young lady and this man was not even in a committed relationship. I think it was some fling thing. And she ended up getting pregnant. And when she got pregnant, the guy was trying to do the right thing and he was with her and it was going through it. And then, one, you got to remember, she's not committed to him. He's not committed to them. Uh, they're just, oh, guys, I'm yawning again. Looks like my body is tired. So it's kind of like, he's trying to do the noble things and stand up and be an upstanding guy to take care of her throughout that pregnancy for them to have the kid. And then they ended up getting engaged, but I think they came to divorce court because they wanted to see if they should get married. And that's when, the whole thing came out where the guy said they got into an argument. She was really angry and she said, "Yeah, this is why you're taking care of another man's pregnancy." Like, you're not just hurting him, you're going to hurt you and your child because guess what? Any man in their right mind or in an angry mind is not going to stick around after they heard that. I don't care if I was a man, I don't care how sad or sorry you say you are, that you didn't mean it. No, honey, have the baby. Let's do DNA and then I'll be in the child's life. Or better yet, let's go do DNA now. They can still get amniotic fluid and check it to see if that's that. They can still get stuff from that baby to see if that's the child of that man from the jet before the baby even come outside. You can find out. But we're in the Western world, so I mean, she said that, "Oh, Your Honor, Judge, I was angry and that," and that's where I first understood how important it is to manage your anger. And that is setting boundaries. Like there are guidelines where you tell them, no matter how angry we are, do not say things that you know is not true. Because if you say it, that means it is true. Don't say things that you know is gonna hurt deep and cut deep and you can't take it back because then now I don't see you the same. Those are communication then. When you're angry and you're not getting your way, how do you resolve it? You talk about it. Oh, I'm angry, I walk away. For me, I ignore you when I'm mad. Yeah, I ignore you because I don't want to say something that's going to get out of hand. I'll ignore you for quite some time. I'm really good at it. I mean, I know I shouldn't be proud of that, but I'm really good at like just not talking to you. I don't care. We can live in this house for 500 years and I will ignore you. But I know that in a relationship, that's not great. That's not a good tools. But I think it's a strategy where you learn to ignore the person for a little bit, maybe for an hour or two, till you feel like you can complete it without getting out of hand. That's a boundaries. So yeah, the gentleman that I was talking about on Instagram that actually talked about this, he said he and his wife, the first 5 year was absolutely make it or break it. And I think that is for most relationships. Again, guys, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm just here to share my opinion, talk to you guys. But yeah, he said it was make it or break it. And the fourth year, going to the fifth year, that's when they started to sit and really have conversation because it looks like it was about to end between them. So they had been to counseling several times, but excuse me, according to this man that I watched his podcast, he said that last 4 year of their relationship was where they started to build set boundaries. Like start to understand what's important to her, what's important to him, how they started to build mutual respect for each other. She did not like him just leaving and not come back for 1 or 2 days or go out and drink and come back anytime and just laid everywhere or vomited. Like he was just doing the most. He was immature, according to him. So when you start to set those boundaries and start to understand people for who they are, then you start to understand, okay, everything else becomes easy and understandable. So yeah, definitely setting boundaries starts with you understanding and building that self-respect and that other mutual respect for your partner, because it's kind of like a guideline, right? Like your kids, you have rules for them. Why do you think relationships shouldn't have rules? It should have rules. Everybody have rules. So I think relationships should have rules. There should be things you should be able to do, things you can do. And I don't think people should just willy-nilly just walk around and feel like, yeah, I can tell you anything and that's it. What can you do about it? I'm grown. No, you should be able to know that this is the person that I trust to walk life with. You guys, that's a big deal. You love your parents, you love your family, you love your friends. This is someone who really, really knows you. This is someone who can actually support or break you. So you should have guidelines how to talk about guidelines, all the guidelines that I think when it comes to communicating. Don't talk about me to everybody. That's something that I had to learn, you guys. Like I had to learn that stuff. Like you don't go to your family and tell them about things about your partner and you think your family will like them the same way because you've forgiven them. You chose that person. They didn't choose them. They didn't choose you. They gotta love you regardless. So whatever you've told them sticks with them. So that should be part of the guideline. That should be boundaries. If I'm angry with you, I shouldn't just call anybody and put them on the phone and keep talking about it. No, no. And I think women, we do that the most. We do it a lot, a lot. So that's something that I think in the past year, I have really tried to understand myself and, you know, and understand relationship in general, understand life in general. It's not just, it could be friendship. Do you and your friends get mad at each other? Do you take their personal information and start to talk about it with other people? No, I don't care what happened. You take that to the grave, you know. So setting boundaries is not like a bad thing. I think it's one of the best things that you could do for your relationship to grow it. Let's go to the note. We're almost at the end, y'all. We did it. We did it. We did it. So it said tips to communicate your needs for space. So this is gonna go back to what River says Pro said. What did he say? Men are advised to walk away when partners are angry. Yet some women feel disrespected when we do. Do you think walking away strategy works? It does work. Some women just want you to be there so that way they can continuously, go outrageous and just make noises. Setting boundaries, like when you have children, as your kids grow older, you start to learn how to be angry. I remember something an older woman told me once. Like, this is not somebody like I really know, though. This is someone I encountered. And it was at a job, I remember now. And she said, you guys, it was so profound. She said that, there are moments where she's been married for a while. So she's like, when she first got married, she had it all wrong. She was always talking, was always like argument. When somebody said something, she was ready to flip, all of that. And then my husband, as they got older into their relationship and things, oh, you guys, I'm so tired. 30 more minutes. Sleepy. I didn't know I was that tired. But so she said that before when she got married, her mom told her that when you're angry, when your family, when you have children, you don't talk about it right there and then. You wait till you go to bed and you talk about how you felt. It's like, there's a lot of self control, man. Takes a lot of self control to be angry at your partner, hold it in, cook dinner, make this, do that, and then wait till you go to bed and talk about it. It's like, how did you do that? I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling. I can't do that. Like, you know? So she's like, you can do it. But it's not just every man that deserve it. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. Ooh, about to sleep on y'all. But so when she said that, I started to think about it. It's not something that my generation are we able to do that? Can we really do that? Like, can you wait? Your partner's hungry, angry with you. You're angry with them. You just had an argument. And you put an apron on and go into the kitchen and make a nice meal for everybody. You guys, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. I mean, I probably could. You gotta train yourself for that. But I think that's setting boundaries as well. Like now, my kids are growing. Like, I can't believe my son is 4 years old now. So I try to not engage in any argument. If I know my husband is angry or I'm angry, I go and I just drop the conversation. Like, I don't entertain it because I don't want my kids to ever hear or see that. I know people will be like, kids have to understand people get angry. Yeah, you're right. They're going to learn that, but not, don't force them to learn it before they're ready for it. That's just all I'm going to say. Like, your kids are going to understand that people argue, people get mad. It's part of life. They get angry too. They get mad. My son, when he gets mad, he's like, he is so mad. Like, this evening, I told him, I was like, Shiloh, you're gonna have to go to bed. You didn't take a nap today. He's like, mommy. And then he gave me a hug. He's such a sweet guy. Like, oh my goodness, he's a sweet guy. I'm worried. I don't know if the world's gonna be nice to him because he's so sweet. But I think people also understand that it is very, very important for you to set boundaries. Not even just communication, in everything in your relationship or marriage. I think you should set boundaries. It's very, very important. All right. So emotional boundaries goes with communicate, right? So how best does your emotion get to you? How best does it happen? How do you control your emotions? Does everything really like take you off? Like, how quick do you really like handle these things? What are those situations that really get your emotions running that you can't even control yourself? You just got to get the words out. You got to set boundaries for that. And that's where you try to understand each other to find out, is it is this situation about me? Am I making this situation more about me than what is really important? I think that helps sometimes. So definitely emotional boundaries. So why does setting emotional boundaries important? It goes with communicating. Setting emotional boundary. Your emotions are your responsibility. It's nobody responsible. You have absolutely full control about how you handle your emotions. So when I hear people say he he or she made me get out of character, no, well, you managed that. That was all you. Nobody handled that. And you guys, this thing I preach it to my team every day. It's not how, I have this employee, she said, the patients are so rude. They don't want you. So you go there in the morning to check on them, check in. So they're telling you, you know, you need to get out. And, people don't understand. And I told her, I said, it's not about you. You're making the whole situation about you. And it's not about you. It's about the patient. Remember, who's vulnerable here? Who needs help? Who's at their weakest point that they don't have control over what's happening? You have control over what's happening. So you have control on how she can react to you, right? So if you walked in and you say hi, and you know, you guys, I'm about to give you guys a red light lecture now. So if you walked into a patient room and the patient's like, I don't want to see you, get out, it's not about you or the patient. I've had a patient told me, you're black. Why are you here? How do you react to that? Right? How do you react to that? And, yeah, my employee say, yeah, how did you handle that? I did. And, you have to have emotional intelligence for that. You have to understand that it is not about me. It is not about you. And you play a joke about it and you laugh and you help that person and you walk out and you have a nice day, right? So my team, I was like, you're always laughing, you're always happy, these patients are rude, especially this past week. It was crazy. Man. It's crazy. I don't know what happened. Everybody went on vacation, came back, and they were sick. The ER was freaking busy. Like we were discharging and admitting. It was a whole mess. But anyway, there was a patient, and she kept saying she's tired of seeing the hospital have black and Hispanic people working. And my team, they don't want to go in there. So every time they go in there, a management or somebody has to go there with them because they just don't want a patient to, say that they did something that they didn't do. So in this process, what I did was like I just told them, you are a professional and this is your area. You have control over how you can react to this issue. It's not about you. You're making it personal. If a patient said that you you're black, like the patient told me, oh, you're black. I don't I don't know why they keep sending me black people. Automatically everybody minds go to, oh, she's racist, right? But it's not about me. Maybe there was, this is where you start playing in your mind. Maybe there was a black person that left a bad impression on her. Or maybe it wasn't just because of black person. Maybe the individual that came, they just happened to be black, but they were just not the one that did the work for them. And they didn't do well for them. Or maybe this is how truly this individual is. But then guess what? It's not about you. You sign up for a job and you do it and think about the patient first. Think about how vulnerable they are. They need your help. They need your help. And they were at their house and you went there and they say, black person, if you say that's different, but this person needs help. So you handle your emotions. Tell yourself it's not about me, it's about her. And you laugh it off. Oh, I'm sorry. I know there's many of us here, but we are here to make sure that you get well and go back home to your family. The moment somebody tells you you're this and your emotion, oh man, I can't believe this. This person told me this, blah, blah, blah. Then your emotions set boundaries for your emotion. It goes for communicating. So if you don't have a good boundary set, a guideline on how to handle situations, how are you going to survive into the world? Because in that moment, you have control over your emotions, and nobody else can control that but you. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to so protecting your emotional well-being, right? Your emotions are your responsibility, and the same holds true for your partner. So we're talking about setting boundaries and communicating, right? Setting emotional boundaries means understanding that you can't be sole emotional support for someone else, nor can they be that for you. The boundary is crucial for your mental well-being. So setting boundaries for your emotions, like do not say, oh, this person did this because they messed up. It's their fault. My husband or my wife did this. They got me emotional. No, they didn't. The other person has emotions and they were able to control it to be able to properly communicate. So setting boundaries also help you practice good emotional and self-control. So it's definitely important to set boundaries when it comes to communicating because the emotions is involved. And like we said, emotions. A good one. He said, how often do we cross boundaries? Every day. You know, you can set boundaries and you'll break it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't set it, right? It's like a guideline. You know, there are rules for the roads, right? When we're driving, how many times do we break the road signs rule just because it's convenient, there's no police around? I raise my hand. You guys, I'm not encouraging you to do the bad thing, but we just have to set boundaries. I think it helps you. It's kind of like a guidelines that help each and everyone because as life goes on, things are going to change. And as time goes on, emotions are going to change. And that's why you communicate. But I think for the sake of this topic, we will, when you're angry, you will cross those boundaries most of the time. But that's why you need to understand what's the communication piece for you and your partner. Like, how well do you guys do this? How can you do it and do it effectively, right? So it's definitely important for you. River says, Pro, I don't know if you were watching, but I was talking about us being responsible for our emotions. I have at the hospital, you see so much, you know. A patient will tell you they don't want to see a black person, right? I don't want to see a Hispanic person. Why is this person here? Like, why are you? Who are you? Like, why does this hospital have so many um, um, Latino and Black people running around here? And it's like, in that moment, what do you do? You're a professional. You're supposed to do your job. My teams get mad. They're like, I don't want to do that. But like I said earlier, you have control over your emotion. And it's not about you in that moment, it's about that patient. So you tell yourself, it's not about me, it's about the patient. And you create, that's where you have good self control and good emotional boundaries, where you know how to detach yourself from being emotional about the situation. I think that work hand in hand with your partner as well. You know, something occurs. Are you angry about what happened or you're angry that it happened? You know, that's where I think it's very important for us to understand. Is it because it just happened you're angry, or is it about what happened that you're angry? So once you try to distinguish that and understand the difference between that, then now you can figure it out and say, you know what? It's not about me. So then you're able to resolve the issue. But in that scenario, what I did, somebody told me straight up. She's like, "Oh, you're the manager? Man, you black too?" I laughed in my mind, like in my heart, I was bawling out. I thought that was funny. Just how I just laughed. That's how I laughed. I was like, oh my gosh. But you gotta hold your emotions. That was an emotional piece where it was so funny because it's like, you the manager too, you black. So it's like this person might not be in their best mood right now because one, they are vulnerable, they are exposed. They don't know you. You're looking at them. They're going through things. You're walking in and out. They look like a project. Doctors coming in, nurses coming in, housekeepers coming in. Everybody's coming into that room. So it's kind of like I'm a project right now. So they're annoyed. So that's how you have to look at life situation. Is it about me? What's happening? In my shoes, I said, it's not about me. I'm not the one that's here. She's here. She's vulnerable. It's about her. So she's angry. Maybe somebody that looks like me have done something wrong. This is my responsibility to change the outcome. Even if I can't change it, influence her. She'll go one day and say, there was one black lady or person that, you guys, I was mean to, and this is what she did. And maybe not all of them are that way. So you have absolute 100% control over your emotion, how you react to things. So just because we're gonna break it, we're humans. We're meant to break rules. We're meant to, poke things and see how far we can stretch the envelope. But that doesn't mean you don't have that boundaries. It's good to set it. Because then if you're somebody who's A type like me, you're gonna remind them, hey, remember this is what we talked about. And that way you can be able to have a nice little conversation. So let's go back to my note, guys. We're getting to the end. Um, let's see. So there are so many boundaries that you can set, right? So communication also comes with being honest. Some people are not honest. Like something will happen and you ask them and they will lie. Like the truth can be right in your face and they would be lying. And some people, their communication piece is like, don't lie to me. And I'm one of those people. I hate, again, that's another thing. Don't lie to me. Don't lie on me and don't lie to me. Those two things, ooh, the roof's gonna fall. I'm just kidding. Don't lie to me and don't lie on me. Like whatever it is, just tell me how it is. I always used to say when I used to date, I always used to say, I like the Black American their style, right? When you and them are in a courtship, maybe not all of them, but for the most part that I know, when you're in courtship or you're dating and they don't feel like being in that relationship anymore, they're gonna tell you straight up, hey, it's not working. You know, what you want right now, I can give it to you. So I'm moving on. And that is good. But if you look in our community, oh boy, the man or the woman may not like you anymore. They're not interested in that relationship anymore. And guys, I'm not talking about marriage because marriage is like you can't just walk out. There's a process. It's a whole institution. But I'm talking about those people that are dating, courting, or in a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you call it, relationships. And now you can be honest about how you feel about what's happening. And if you're ready to leave out or stay in and you just keep dragging somebody along the way, that, my friend, It's not nice. Not nice. And I think you should also set them. That's important. That's about being honest. Honesty is very, very important. Yeah, this is pro native. You made it on.
Yeah, I look a little bit rough just from work. So I just want to chip in because this is a very interesting topic. Just sitting in the
Thank you.
yeah. So how you been doing?
Oh, I've been okay. It's been a rough week, but we survive on the hustle.
Yeah. So how the internet connection did you because this sound I mean it seems much better.
Yeah, I had a technician. I came out and then
Okay.
I called StreamYard. It was actually the wire within here that
Okay.
the internet was not really running great, but they came out yesterday. They finally fixed it. I had to schedule everything.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. No, they came Thursday. Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. At least you're back on. It's a great topic.
Yeah.
Definitely, I had to be. Yeah, we kind of behind, so I had to be at work. But P, I want to
No.
ask you a question. Yeah, I know you talk
Uh-huh.
about boundaries as you're reading your little notes.
Yeah.
How much? How much? First of all, does anger respect boundaries? Does I mean in
It
terms of
doesn't.
yeah, when people are really angry and we know what anger does, see, there are times like people will say things. It's kind of spontaneous. It's kind of like fast, quick, you
Right.
know. So, do you think anger? I know you talk about boundaries, setting boundary. Yeah, it's important. But when it comes to anger, do you think uh, anger does respect boundary, or is it even though there's anger, I mean, boundaries will still be there. I mean, we still need boundaries, though. But how much,
Right.
how much does anger impact or destroy boundary set by partners?
I think that's a great question. Um, I think in any relationship, whether it be your parents or friends or whatsoever,
Hmm.
you can set all the boundaries you want, but when they're angry,
Yeah.
you're not thinking straight in that moment. But I
Okay.
think that's where self control comes in, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's where maturity comes in.
Okay.
That's where you start to, because I hate to say this, but I think we all can control our anger. Um, we all can, how do I put it? We all can control our anger. We all know how to handle that, but we choose not to. I
Hmm.
think anger is a choice, right?
Do you think so?
Because, yeah, I really think so because
Hmm.
I really do think anger is a choice because just hear me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I can be having a conversation
Yeah.
and something happens, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, for the sake of this argument, let's just say I give you, we've been talking
Mm-hmm.
and I say, I trust you and I trust you with something and I give that to you.
Yeah.
And then I came back, find out that you manipulated the process of it so that I would trust you, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Right there, I have a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a choice. I can be angry with you, or I can just make a decision and say, I will not, trust you anymore. Or, I'll be angry, but the way how I react to you, I have control over that.
Hmm.
Like, that's why I said it's a choice. Like, it's not about what's happening. Like, you got to think about it, right? Am I
Yeah.
angry about what happened? Or am I angry about the fact that I trusted you? Or am I angry about, but of course, we have been trained as human beings that because something happened, we should be angry and we can handle it anyway because we have excuse because we're mad, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's a choice. You can choose to be angry, you can choose not to be angry, or you can choose how the amount of energy you want to put in that anger. For instance, like me and my husband together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I trust him and he trusts me. All of a sudden, I find out, or he find out and say, "Oh, Felicia has extracurricular activity going on with another guy," right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like he's hurt, right? So he's gonna use his emotion to lash out.
Yeah.
But in that moment, as angry as you are, you have a choice, right? Felicia just betrayed everything that you've worked with. Now, what are you angry? Why do you want to take your emotion to that degree to handle that? You know, like why? What? How is that going to solve that problem? But of course, like we don't allow ourselves to think because we're letting our emotion to get the best of us. So
Yeah.
that's why I said like we're in control of our emotions. Because in that moment it's not about you. As much as you think it's about you, it's not about you. It's about Felicia because Felicia has proven herself to not be trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because you feel like you've been betrayed, now you're angry and go above. You can be angry without, like being outrageous and, just saying things you're not supposed to say. Even though that person make their own decision to go that route,
Mm-hmm.
who are you to call them names? Like, like let them handle that by themselves. Let them live their life the way how they have chosen. Now you just have a choice to either stay and try to understand what was Felicia thinking to do that,
Mm-hmm.
or make a decision to get yourself out of, that space. Like, okay, you betray me, this is it. We talked about it and I don't want to be part of this anymore. Like detach yourself from that. Because I just feel like we use emotions too much as an excuse to just lash out and say a whole lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
we're not supposed to. But in reality, we can actually control that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know it's hard, but I think maturity, that's how it plays because instead of you just thinking that, and that's where, you start to understand who has emotional intelligence, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because if you have it, so let's put it this way. I just share with you, with everybody, right? At work, when you work in a hospital, there's a whole lot of things that happen, right?
Yeah.
A patient will tell you you're black. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
You're black. I don't want a black person touching me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want a black person coming in my room. Or that why, like specifically to my husband, is like, why is there everybody coming in here? They're black or Latino. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You as a so what do you do? You're a professional, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna let your emotion get the best of you? No, you can't.
Yeah, but the thing is, see,
Uh-huh.
but then, so in a healthcare setting, I believe you guys have those ethical code of conduct, and which and I believe a lot of you, not everybody, but a lot of you are mentally trained. Because years back, like I said before, I was supposed to be LPN. I did a little bit of CNA,
Hmm.
and yeah, I remember this one old lady. She was kind of like independent. I went to care of her and she said, "Oh, she told me to get out." Then after a little while, the nurse told me to wait and go back in. When I went back in, she started saying, "Oh, one black guy came here and I told him to go back." Well, as it was me, the same person. So then I started developing like, well, a lot of these people they don't they got Alzheimer's, the dementia, and some of the they probably don't even know. But I think at that point, I did. I haven't done any specific training, but then mentally, fee, the more I stay in a healthcare setting, the more I started developing. Like back home, like what you saying, it was something we
Mhm.
used to hear. Like, oh, the people can say you get us, are you black monkey this that. But then
Yeah,
when I started working their fee, then I noticed that a lot of these people, yeah, some of them may have had those tendencies before they got old or their present condition. But I noticed that I started noticing that these people, it wasn't really themselves. I mean, logically is their body, but they are certain, like some of these people wouldn't even recognize their own children with it. So I'm thinking like if the woman don't even know her own daughter, they don't even know their own children, who am I? So they feel I started developing that mental capacity, that mental understanding of, oh, you know what, I shouldn't really get angry with these people, even though they will cause me, but I think they don't majority of the time. Yeah, some of them inherently maybe they were racist or something, but then I noticed they change. But then my point is like the anger issue you're talking about. I believe in a healthcare setting, fee, like fee, I mean, trust me, for you guys who work in the area, it's not it's prevalent, which is it happens all the time. A lot of time to you, right? So
yeah,
it's not something for you to build. I wouldn't say anybody should build an immunity or immune system against abuse or racism. It's not good. That's not something for you to build. Something to say, oh, I'm immune to it. But it's different for a relationship, like you said, you and your hobby. So a fee, unlike the
mhm,
hospital where it happened to you so many times, you're like whatever. But when you or your husband, yeah, when that betrayal comes, it's different. The years you've been together, it's not something that you've been doing. If it was repetitive, you'd be like, well, that's our behavior. But when it just happened, then he like, I think that's why I bring that emotional anger. Some people with lives, some people like the African American you're talking about. Look, look, I see something that I saw in this country where a man just walked to a place and shot his girlfriend right in the chest. I'm telling you, because of
yeah.
anger. Yes. So these people, yeah, so my point is, Fee, I think the difference is with a hospital setting, it happens so much that you are kind of used to it. But when it happens in a relationship, you and somebody been together for 20 years, 15 years, y'all build something together, y'all got children, and then all of a sudden he found out that you get an extra curricular or extra relationship. Just think about that, fee. He that level of betrayal, there's so much thing coming into his mind, like so many things. So I think that's where the difference come in, dude, with a healthcare setting and a relationship. I don't know what you think.
I agree. There is two different, but also it's still the same in a way because you're emotional, right?
Mhm,
As much as it happens so often in the healthcare field, right?
mhm,
You will not believe behind closed door how emotional nurses and people feel. Like that's why they change their job. They will leave because it's like,
mhm.
a patient will look at you and spit on you or peed
Yeah.
on you, like, but I think sometimes it's the way how they react,
Okay. Yeah.
like it's the reaction. So it's the emotional piece part. It's the part where I think you try to tell yourself. So many times I have to talk to my team and say,
Mhm.
it's not about you, like you just have to think about it like what that person did is not about you. What I did if I went and got extracurricular relationship outside, it's not about you as the person because you cannot fulfill all of my needs. You cannot make me happy. I can make myself happy based on what we both do together, right? Like I'm in control of my own emotion. But what happened is, I think in this example that I just gave, right? The husband is mad. He start thinking, am I not enough? Like What did I do wrong? Like people think that way. People are saying, okay, like, did he not give her enough attention? Did not buy her things. Like, why did she have to go that far? Like, who is this person? Like, is this something that's been happening for a while? People get into the emotions and then they start thinking about it and then they react. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not about you, it's about that person. And once you're able to build that maturity, yeah, you'll be angry. Everybody's going to be angry. You're going to be angry, but you're going to choose wisely what words and how you display your emotions. For women, some of them start yelling, throwing things, going all over the place, telling this person, telling that person, dealing with this, dealing with that. No, that's not how you handle it. Someone who have control over their emotions and they understand how it works and how to deal with it. You're going to be angry. You're going to tell the person how you feel and what's going on. But at the same time, you put it in the back of your mind that this is not about me. This is about that individual. They are choosing what they want to do because I don't care how angry you get or how you do that or how you do this or how you do that. If that person's already made up their emotional mind to continue doing what they're doing, they're going to keep doing it. So it doesn't matter if you come back and say, "Oh, we've been together for 20 years." You don't think they know you've been together for 20 years? You don't think they know that you guys have built life together? You don't think they know what's happening? They know. They are self-aware. They know exactly what's going on. But in that moment, that person decided, or in this example we're giving, Felicia decided she wanted to make herself happy. And, whatever happens, happens, even though she was part of this building of 20 years of this family or whatsoever. She decided, I'm going to jeopardize everything because this is what I want in this moment. And she did it. So, who are you to be there and be like, you guys, I have so much going on in here. Who are you to be angry? Um, so thank you, sis. So I didn't know you were watching. Thank you. Um, Charles said maturity is the factor to control anger. Yes, a lot of people are not mature. A lot of people do not understand, like, you know, like what I was saying, right, River says, bro, when you set these boundaries and somebody understand that one, like you guys, I'm using myself as a case study tonight. So one, when my husband and I got together, I was in another relationship that was, that was like the relationship I was in for the longest before I met my husband. And that relationship, if you guys watch enough, I always I thought that was it, but it happened, that wasn't it. And I'm where I'm at, and I'm grateful that it happened that way. You can't control life, how it goes. But I remember we had an extensive conversation, and it was about, things that have happened to me before, what boundaries I don't want nobody to cross. It's like, if this happened, this is what I'm going to react this way. If this happened, this is stuff that. So I'm telling you, and I think it's kind of like a guideline for me, where it's like, I don't like, you don't cheat on me. If you cheat on me, this is how it makes me feel, and this is what's going to happen. If you lie to me, this is how it feels, and this is what's going to happen. Um, if you're angry, if I'm angry, this is how I react, this is what I do. Yeah, Charles, what are those tips? Share them. Charles said he got tips for us how to manage. And yeah, a lot of people don't know about anger management, how to manage their anger. And I think that's where it comes in place, because no matter what you do, you don't have control over somebody' reaction or what they're gonna do or whatsoever. So I really like Rivers' pro questions where he said, does anger know boundaries? Anger doesn't know it, but people should be self-aware and understand that, oh wow, this happened, you know why? Catch yourself. In a moment you're gonna get off guard, but don't let it last. And you need to catch yourself before you actually go and cause more damage than it is already. Like I said earlier, there was a lady that said, oh, the baby is not yours and she's not in a committed relationship, right? um and the guy was actually trying to, do the right thing and be by her side. When she said that, he said, okay, when the baby is born, let's do DNA. And he left. So now she was left to being by herself because she was angry that, oh, he had other women he was talking to and started cussing out and saying a whole lot of things. So don't let your emotion get the best of you, especially when you know your situation.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, Fee. So
uh
one time, one time I mentioned you were on a post. I don't know if you went there. Apparently, you didn't see it, but the Nigerian guy. Um.
I think I saw it, but I didn't really. I glanced over it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was trying to ask you about that Nigerian guy. Yeah, with the three kids. I don't know. You heard the story, right?
No, can you refresh my memories?
Okay. So what happened was this Nigerian
Mhm,
soccer player. Finally, I don't know how true the story, but it was trending. It been trending on Facebook, social media.
mhm.
His wife. They did a DNA for the three. She didn't say anything, but he found out and did a DNA for his three kids, and none of them were his.
Yeah, I remember. I remember now.
Yeah. So then, that was it. So, my thing is, I just trying to bring that situation a little bit. But let me go back to my previous question, my previous comment that I made or question concerning walking away, right?
Mhm.
So I know you emphasize on it, but I was in here out of work, spying on the phone, and I'm trying to get me an
Yeah.
earpiece at work.
Me
But
too. I need to get one.
yeah, my supervisor, he too knows say every time he want to come be spy. So yeah, Sophie, okay, in the African setting, we are taught to walk away, right?
Mhm.
Especially men. Okay, so because most of the time it happens, even my mother would tell me, when somebody just walk away, she will come to us. But in the American setting, and I want us to compare and contrast. In the American setting, the American woman would say, "Don't you dare walk away from me," because they see it, yeah. And I see them say a lot of time, American women,
Yeah.
don't keep talking to you, you walk away. But in the African culture or tradition or society, we were told like when a woman vests, just chill, just walk away, walk around, the neighborhood and come back. Hopefully things will
Yeah.
be. So that is something I don't know, Fee. When you compare the two culture, like I know I asked about yeah, I mean I asked it before, but I didn't get the actual Do you? I mean, what do you think about as the African society? I know a lot of African are getting, Americanized and it's kind of different now. They dare
Right.
they dare not walk away from their American wives or American girlfriend. Well, how do you look at it from both contexts, from the American context and from the I mean, how effective is it? I mean, do do you feel do you personally do you see it as a disrespect? Say if you and your husband do something and then he doing it the African way, say, you know what, let me leave the house, let me go to the grocery store, let me go to Walmart. But then, how do you perceive that, Fee? Do you see that as a disrespect, or are you going to think like, well, you know what? Even though we're in the United States, or I think when you refresh your mind back that that is something that African men, are especially Liberian. Let me speak in context of Liberian because I don't know the rest
Yeah.
of what happened there. I mean, will you see that as a disrespect? Will you be American Nasty? Will you be one of those American people like nonsense? Come back here before I bust your hair with it high shoes. How would you see it, Fee?
No, so actually I prefer the African culture part. I think it depends on the argument, right? If the argument is like heated where, you know, no, people just can't, someone women are very quick on putting their hands on people. I think sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not, because sometimes you need answer and you're having conversation. It might look like an argument, but you're asking question and someone just grabbing their keys and just walking off. It's kind of like, wow, you left me in the middle of I'm trying to get clarity and you just walk away. But then if it's like heated, where it's like someone's trying to throw hands and things are, it's not just, we're just talking and people are putting in, yeah, you should walk away. I think that's the American way too. When it escalate where you're like, people are about to get physical, they do advise you to walk away. Like, get out, leave the situation, cool off, and come back. But in the American setting, where people don't want you to walk off, it's like it's a sound of disrespect to them, because some people, and this is where I was like, setting boundaries is important, right? Because then you understand how your partner reacts to things, how they expect you to act when situation arise. Like for me, if I'm angry, I keep things in, like I ball it in, ball it, and then I explode. And then the thing that you don't expect me to be mad at, that's when you're mad. It's like, well, why are you mad? This is not even that important. Then now you start hearing about things that happened before that we discussed, and you're still doing it. I think that's how most women are for the most part. But the American women, most of them, and I don't know everyone, but I know for the few that I've seen, they want to talk about it right there and then, scratch it and be done and move on to the next thing. And when you walk away, some people feel like, especially when a man walk away and grab his keys and is leaving and don't come back to the next day, I think that's what the problem is. Because then when another argument comes, they see you walking out, it's like, okay, he's going again, and it gets even worse. So I think it just depends on what the situation is. Like sis Tenant said, my sis is watching tonight. Oh, shout out to you. She said it depends. Sometimes you have to walk away. It depends on the situation. Yeah, definitely. You have to have self control and be able to manage the situation, because, but I think that I prefer the African culture. But I think in my opinion, most of the African guys these days are not properly using the African culture. The African culture, in my understanding, how I understand it was, if there was an argument and things are getting out of hand and you're walking out to a family member's place or somewhere, like you're sitting outside and someone, like talking to someone, and then after an hour or two, you're gonna come back and you walking around the community, right? But nowadays, some of them go out to go drink, like come back drunk and all this craziness. So I don't know how effective that is, because you're still angry because you went and drank and came back. Who knows what you did out there while you were drunk, right?
Yep, yep, yep. True.
Or they go to their girlfriend, like everybody has something going on. So I don't know how effective it is nowadays. So now I think African women, when you decide you're going out, they automatically assume you're leaving to go to your girlfriend.
Yep, yep, yep. That's true. That's true. A lot of, yep. You're right. You're right. So, yeah, you're right, Fee. I think
So now they will rather you sit down in our house and we talk about it.
yep, that's true. That's true. I've seen it a lot where I want to take my friend, take my friend. The girl said, "You ain't going nowhere. You carrying him to look for a woman." I said, "Chill."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because
So
it happens.
yeah, and then she was getting angry with me, like, but see, Fee, I was just trying to diffuse the situation, right? That's
I
how,
know.
yeah. But then she kind of flip it on me, turn on me, like, oh,
Because that was probably what the argument was about.
exactly, exactly. So I was there, I was there to do it. I was there the wrong time. But, but, I mean, as far as the anger though, with the between partners. I know we stress on this word boundary, setting boundaries, but we let's look at let's look at external involvement, right? Like
Right.
family involvement in quelling anger. How do you see that? Like the mother, say the husband mother, or say my mother, or maybe family members. Do you think it is advisable, like when anger sparks in the home and then confusion and people throwing, kind of, so to speak, throwing kitchen sink at each other? Um, do you think parental intervention or family intervention is necessary, or is helpful, or should it just be you and your partner? What do you think about external involvement in solving anger issues or solving quarrel in the home?
Um, just give me one moment. It looks like Charles wants to come on. I'm gonna pin the link again in the comment section, Charles, so that way you can see it.
Yeah,
I know
I'm,
there's
I'm,
been.
I'm, I'm driving home, so hopefully I got like 5 minutes home, so I'll be
Okay.
able to be stable.
All right. Yeah. So Charles, I just put the link. You just click on it, and then it will show you how to get on. But just to answer your question, I honestly believe in like resolving issue unless it's at like the point where you can resolve it. As much as I do think like family involvement is helpful in some situation, but I think when things happen, especially the way how life is these days, it's not like back in the days, you know? Like back in the days, you definitely knew you could talk to family members or like, but nowadays people already formulate, you know, for instance, people are deciding to marry people on their own these days. It's no longer like influenced by their family members. So if that family member that you're going to already had their mind on this person that they didn't want you to be with, that could be another negative to your relationship. But I also think like it's great for you to have someone that you can count on. That's why I'm someone who believe, when people have these white weddings, they have like bridesmaids, maid of honor. I think, when people are deciding to put these are people that you should call prayer warriors that will help you when things are starting to shake, which things do shake in relationship is reality. It will happen. You should put people that you trust, that that, not every one of them, but like especially your maid of honor or like your groomsman, your best man. Those two people should be people, and your family members should be people that they know about your relationship, and this is how I understand weddings. They know about your relationship, they understand it, they've been there, and they can actually vouch for both of you guys as individual. And if things was to go south, that they have the best interest for both of you guys, and they will pray with you and guide you through the process to come up with a solution to the problem. But with that being said, going to the family member, um, for me, I would say you try to keep family member out unless you really have to. And if you have to, it should be those family member that actually seek the best interest for your relationship, not those ones that don't know anything, but because you're angry and you need somebody to talk to, so you call that person that you think they're the one available to talk to. Because to be quite honest, not all family member wants the best interest for everyone. Maybe your mom, your dad. If you don't have your mom and dad, you need to have someone like an elderly that you really trust. But I don't think it's every situation you should go to them. I think some of it you definitely need to cool off, and then you guys can have that conversation between both of you.
Okay, Fee,
uh
Before Pastor Charles coming, I know there are. So what's about the church? I mean, what's about, not when I say church, I don't mean carrying your
Definitely
business
the
to the whole
pastor.
to, yeah, just a pastor, not carrying your business to the whole congregation.
I know,
So
right? Because sometimes the congregation can be shaking.
yeah, so so Fee, what's about the pastor? I mean, what's about the pastor? Say the pastor that marry her, or it might not necessarily be the one that marry her. I know that's a common one, but do you think you should kind of confide in a pastor where maybe if you don't maybe think kind of excessively, you'll be like, well, Fee, I've been with y'all, y'all be in my church, and you know how the pastor talk and things that they were happening, and you guys did not even tell me about it, and look how far we've gone. So do you think besides the parent, which I understand what you said, do you think we should entrust our clergyman, our pastor, when it comes to our anger, solving anger issue, and
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But as it is, I think a lot of people are not very close to their pastor like they should be nowadays. It's like people just come to church on Sundays and they go home and live a different life, come home, or even not different lives, they just go home. But I would think the pastor that's marrying you, if you are like doing like, you're not just going to the court and you're having the pastor, even if you did the court, like you have a pastor that you trust, that you want them, that they know about your marriage and stuff, and you confine in them. But we're learning these days some of the pastors are not very trustworthy, sadly, like sadly, like you can't really trust them, and people don't really like. I don't know. When I was growing up, I thought like the pastor knew every church members and like knew a little bit about them. But I would say nowadays, how life is going, how things is going, is very difficult to find a pastor that really knows their church members, because it's so many people now in churches. They come here and there and leave. People are not really committed. You hear people, I rather worship at home. So but ideally, you should be able to confide in your pastor, especially the one that actually married you, because they're passing on God's blessing. God's using them through them to pass their blessing on you, right? So you should be able to confide in them. They should be there and be able to guide you through all those things that you're going through. But some people don't have that luxury, sadly. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's
that's
really sad. I think the church need to do a little bit more, because I know most church have like elderly you can talk to, or they have youth ministry, or newly wed or new couples. Because
yeah.
honestly, the first 5 years is not fun. It's like a lot. It's a lot until you try to figure out, especially if you're young and you got married, like you got to get your emotion intact and try to understand each other and figure out the individual figure you out. So it's really, really hard. And if you don't have that elderly, like the Bible says, that the elderly women teach the young women, all that stuff. If you don't have that and nobody to actually train you and show you, and then also to make it worse, some people don't have that family member to go to, that's when it become a whole disaster. that's why I think like a lot of people are trying to figure it out on their own, and is it end up becoming like this huge argument, and it's not like in control, and it just becomes worse than it should be. But most people don't have self control and emotional control, and they just feel like their entire life they have to lash out, and that's just it. That's what they know. You can't blame them. But then setting that boundaries, and I want people to understand like setting boundaries is kind of like setting that mutual respect for each other. Like, I know this is, it's kind of like those deal breaker, right? Like, I can't deal with this, you can't deal with this. Okay, so how do we meet in the middle? So you prepare for that. So when that happens, when you are heavy and heated, and your partner looked at you and you see the way they're reacting based on that, you should be able to have that cues to like get yourself together and say, you know what, can we come back and talk about this later? But I know it's hard. But for me, like I feel like over the year it was difficult first, but now like we're literally starting to, especially when you have children and they're starting to grow up and learn things and say it, you start to like hold yourself and say, okay, you know what, I'm not even gonna entertain that. Let's just drop it. So then you later on can talk about it when you're in your timeline. But it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. So this tenant said it depends
So
on issue. Not every conversation family members are allowed to talk into. Couples should try to solve problems first. If they cannot resolve it, then talk to someone who is God fearing in your circle that can be helpful. I agree. Yeah, because sometimes, especially if let's just say your mom or your dad don't like the husband or the mom don't like the wife, and you just giving her more ammunition to keep pumping that relationship not to work. Oh man. Sometimes, but I think couples should definitely learn how to solve problems, even though it is really helpful to have those God-fearing person who really, like I was just said, like they means well for you and they can help, and they themselves are living the examples that they are preaching to you. If they're not living it, I don't know. I don't want your advice.
so but fee,
I know someone. Uh-huh.
so how much of a how do couples support each other? Say, eh, you know what? Let me get my stuff. Let me go take my stuff. So how do couples? I know this is talk about the settling the issue, but say I mean it's very rare. I haven't seen it. Maybe it happened, but to find two people with anger issue together, I mean that's not something you find often. But
Yeah,
what is
someone's
the
always
best
fine.
support? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, one person quiet, and I don't know for some reason God got it set up like that. One person quiet, and the other one is
Oh, and
all over the
I
place.
have
But
I've seen two crazy, crazy. Came to the job, burned the person car. I was like, yeah, I've seen crazy. It
so
happened.
I hope I on laptop. But what what is the best form of support that you think? I know you said the anger issue is more of ourselves. Uh, you shouldn't allow yourself to reach to that trigger point. But what if you got a man that has, because I got a co-worker, and these are social issues. So like you always use your
Yeah.
example. Right? Yeah. So because these are actual things that happen or feel. These are things that affect relationships. So my friend, we used to work together. He had anger issues. So his wife, they had a lot of intervention. So what she did, she sent him to anger management section. And
Hmm.
and then he got better. He was yeah, I don't know if he was on medication or something, but at least their relationship got better. From there on. So she was able to support him though. She did not say
Oh,
body
your network.
weight, you ain't got time for that, it's too much out right away. But this lady, I mean, she was white though. I don't think it has anything to do with her color, but
But also, I think it had to do with him wanting the help, right?
uh-huh.
Like, oh, we can't hear you. Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah, she could have suggested all she wants. He was ready and wanted the help. So he went for the help. A lot of our Liberians people have anger problem. Trust me, they got anger problem. They be angry, but they don't feel the need that they need to go for some type of counseling. Some of them feel like, no, I don't need nobody telling me how to control my anger. Yes, you do. Especially those one who is ready to put their hands on someone, men, women, anger issues, you know.
So why you think they don't want to
Mhm.
seek her? Is it a stigma associated with it?
Yeah, I think there's a stigma with it. Even black people is, oh, the network. I can't hear you.
yeah, my network. Oh, FEMA. Hey, my phone gonna die,
Yeah, maybe
so
when you
I
get
will
used
I will
to.
get on my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I will
when
as soon as I get home,
someone
I'll be
knows.
on the
Okay. As soon as someone, when people understand that they have a problem, it's helpful for your partner to help you guys. Like I said, I'm not a relationship expert, but I'm here to share my opinion based on things and questions. You guys share the show, invite your friends and family. Even if we're not live, they can still watch it later on. I know it's long. Nobody wants to sit and watch this for 3 hours, but trust me, if you're driving somewhere and you just put it on, it helps you keep you company. I know you want to listen to your music. But yeah, being angry it's something I know we all are trying every day. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's gonna be perfect on this. Everybody's going to like somehow learn how to manage it eventually. And Rome wasn't built in one day, right? So, but you have to be aware of the situation. Also, if you're someone who have anger problem, you need to let your partner know. And some people try to hide those. It's kind of like the skeleton in the closet nobody wants to talk about until boom, something happened. So if you're able to communicate with your partner and let your partner know this is the problem that I have, I'm working on it. That way that person can understand and have compassion on that, right? But if you're someone who just, like you don't like the example River says Pro said, the lady helped her, husband find help and they help their relationship. Yeah, if you're invested in a relationship and you want it to work, you're gonna work along with your partner to make sure you guys, get that done. But also as much as you want to be helpful, if that individual is not willing and want help, you can do all you want. You're just going to waste your time. So that's something that that individual got to want for themselves. It's kind of like your parents want you to go and be a doctor, right? But deep down, you don't want to be a doctor. So you go and everything. As much as you want to do it for them, you're going to fail those classes because your entire mind and your focus is not on those classes because that's not what you want to do. So, like what I was saying, it takes two to tango. Setting boundaries, I don't want you guys to think like it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I have no. Setting boundaries is kind of like everybody do it every day. It's like you telling me, Felicia, I don't like you to call me around 1 o'clock every day. Please don't do that. Now I understand that's a boundaries you've set. I understand and I respect you for that because you don't want me to call you at that time. Or you set the boundaries where you're like, yeah, Felicia, please do not. don't talk to me in that manner. I don't like when you talk to me and you call me out of my names. Next time when I'm talking to you and I'm about to call you out of your name, that is like a it's like a chemical reaction in your brain. Once something becomes part of you, now you know that that's something you're not supposed to do. Kind of like, the stove is hot, right? It's the invisible, I call it the invisible boundaries. The stove is hot and you tell yourself, you don't want to touch it because you know what's going to happen. Like your kids, you tell, like my son, the other day, he saw the hot stove and he wants to go there. And I said, don't touch it. Very hot. And he's like, very hot? Yes, very hot. If you touch it, it'll burn you. So he didn't touch it, but I think he's still curious. He wants to know. So today I made some chicken nuggets and I give it to him and I told him it's very hot. Don't touch it. Wait for a few minutes, let it cool off. He's like, very hot? I say, yeah, very hot. Guess what? He went and touched it. It burned it. He's like, oh, mommy, hot. Yes, I told you it's very hot. Don't touch it. So I think now he will remember. I hope he remember. If you see the stove and I tell him it's hot, you know? Yeah, so guys, setting boundaries in your relationship when it comes to communicating, I think that's like the bare bone of maturity. Is understanding like, when it's kind of like simple. Oh, I'm when you go to the store or when you leave home, you should communicate with your family members so they understand that you're safe and everything's okay. You know, there should be that form of communication. That's boundaries. You should be able to have self control when it comes to certain things. That's setting boundaries, understanding how you set mutual respect for each other. So, this has been a very long one, shockingly. We pulled it into 3 hours. Wow. But it was really engaging. I really enjoyed the conversation. I am going to try to close here so that way I can wake up early tomorrow with you guys. I was yarning. River says Pro, I wanted to wait for you, but getting a little tired here. But guys, I look forward to seeing your comment. Thank you guys so much for all the support and the engagement in this topic. Tomorrow, we're going to come back with another great one. Happy new month, and I pray you're having a great, great month. We're in mid year. I hope you guys' dreams, your goals, you're working on it. When we started the show, I told you guys how something flew right by my ear. I told you guys that when June hit, I started thinking, man, I haven't accomplished all the stuff that I wanted to this far, but I've accomplished some other things. So I am grateful for that. But we still have time. You can still do what you're supposed to do or want to do. So with that being said, just want to say shout out to my sis Tenen for hopping on. Really appreciate you coming and giving us all your great inputs. Thank you to Pastor Charles for always watching and supporting us. Hopefully you can be on tomorrow, Pastor Charles. To get on, you just tap on the link. It give you instruction on how to log on. River Pro, thank you so much for the show. You always here with a great question and great support. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night. Good night. I'm gonna end